Hormones have arrived in Springfield, and nothing will ever be the same. Difficult moments weigh heavily on Marge as she faces the toughest decision of her life, fighting aging, no matter the cost. Homer, meanwhile, seems to have become a more sensitive man.
You'll notice that my face does not look surprised.
Until he realizes there's something in his body that simply isn't responding anymore, and it's not his heart.
Men's sexual health is no time for thinking! Shoot me up, Doc!
Bart begins to grow curious about seeing something more on social media. Videos that promote digital love and awaken new, unsettling questions.
No more internet for you.
What? Why?
Lisa is locked in a constant battle with her teenage hormones, while Flanders finds himself glowing once again in the realm of love.
He sure is.
Stupid happy future Flanders.
And Maggie at last will speak the words fans have been waiting to hear for 37 seasons, voiced by none other than Lindsay Lohan.
Please! Don't let Bart drive! It's too scary! He drives so wiggly and everybody honks at us and yells bad words and shows us fingers!
Just as season 36 ended with Marge's death, season 37 opens by celebrating several of her birthdays.
Maybe 43 is the year I change my hairstyle. I don't have that kind of courage.
That morning, Homer asks Marge to make breakfast as early as possible. He wants to avoid the hormone twins, Bart and Lisa, who, now deep into adolescence, seem completely out of control. Marge brushes it off, saying it's just a phase, and that both kids are dealing with mixed emotions. Homer says he gets it, it's part of growing up, and while he can't control how they feel, what he really wants is to avoid them altogether. Mostly because, like with any teenager, the smell is the first thing you notice. Marge changes the subject and asks Homer how his wedding speech for Flanders is coming along. Homer just laughs. He still can't believe that after everything they've been through, Flanders asked him to be his best man. Moments later, Bart appears, looking like he's at war with the world. He only wants to eat absurd amounts of food, avoid conversation, and read his book. Lisa is also a walking bundle of hormones, acne on her face, and worst of all, clothes that suddenly don't seem to fit anymore.
The changes we go through as women are beautiful and should be celebrated with joy and gratitude as the gifts they are.
Lisa disagrees, but both are quickly interrupted by Bart's raspy voice, demanding more food.
More food. Where is?
Homer tells him there's food in the pantry, and even though Bart is the older sibling, as often happens, girls grow faster. Lisa is now much taller than him, and mocks him for not being able to reach. Bart, deep in the phase where nothing matters, doesn't even bother responding. He eats some chili and tells Marge he's going to drive himself to school. First, he's old enough now. Second, how is he supposed to learn not to kill anyone if they won't let him practice? This prompts Maggie to try to speak, but Marge stops her. Maggie recently had laryngitis and needs to rest her voice. Maggie doesn't care, and something happens that we haven't seen in many seasons. Maggie has babbled before, and once she even said, "I love you, Daddy," to Homer, but no one heard her. This time her words are perfectly clear.
Please! Don't let Bart drive! It's too scary! He drives so wiggly and everybody honks at us and yells bad words and shows us fingers!
After hearing this, Marge decides Bart will not be driving. She takes Lisa to school herself. On the way, Marge reminisces about how much fun they used to have riding in the car and singing together. But Lisa reacts like many teenagers do, frustrated and angry, because Marge forced her to volunteer at Flanders' wedding. In fact, the whole family will be involved, and Marge didn't want Lisa left out. Lisa reminds her that maybe she enjoyed playing the sax and being seen when she was younger. But now that she's older, she doesn't feel comfortable anymore. She feels even worse when Marge hands her her period bag. Later, trying to distract herself, Marge meets up with her friends, who are also ruled by hormones as they go through menopause, or rather, perimenopause. Since they're still fairly young for the most intense stage women face later in life, they all tell Marge it's like a horror movie. Hot flashes, hyperfocus, mood swings, sleepless nights, and frustration. Luann suggests that since there's nothing they can do about the hot flashes, they could at least improve their faces with fillers. She tells them to mark the parts of their faces they no longer like and fix them. Marge says it's not necessary, that they could even celebrate their wrinkles as proof of everything they've lived through. But no one feels like celebrating that. That night, perimenopause strikes again, and Marge can't sleep. She rearranges the furniture, but as usual, it leads nowhere. Desperate, she picks up Bart's comic book, and as she reads it, realizes something isn't right. Frightened, she wakes Homer. She tells him the robot in the comic is hypersexualized, and that Bart doesn't need to be consuming that kind of content. Homer replies that the comic is actually pretty tame. Bart could easily be online watching adult content instead. Marge regrets her reaction and admits that her emotions are spiraling out of control too.
Shut your muzzle mouth!
Later, Homer runs into Flanders, who is absolutely glowing. His house is bigger, he drives a sports car, and thanks to the gym, he seems to have found a second wind. His fiancée is Pam, genuinely younger, and the one giving Flanders his natural collagen boost. She gets along well with Homer.
He sure is.
Stupid happy future Flanders.
So well that he even asks her for an embarrassing story about Flanders. She only says that once, he saved her when she almost drowned. At work, Homer gets a call. Marge has locked herself inside a mall refrigerator because she can't handle the hormone-induced heat. Terrified, she tells Homer she's officially in perimenopause and feels like she's getting old. Back at home, Marge is irritable. Bart is grumpy with hunger and a cracked voice. Lisa is drowning in insecurity, and now Maggie won't stop talking.
I'm a flower girl, and I want special shoes!
Homer watches them and initially thinks Marge has perimeningitis and that now he's the voice of reason because everyone else has lost their minds. So he does his thing, addressing each of them with a single carefully chosen word. Later, much calmer, Marge goes to Scoocher's to find the special shoes Maggie wants. There she runs into Artie, who now needs comfortable shoes because of his age. As soon as he sees her, he tells her he no longer feels the obsession he once did. Maybe because now he notices the flaws that come with age. Or maybe because he wears comfortable shoes now. This deeply unsettles Marge. She seeks out Luann and asks her to give her the same fillers she's been using repeatedly.
You'll notice that my face does not look surprised.
When Marge gets the injections, Lisa judges her. She's supposed to love herself and embrace the changes that come with age. But Marge already feels old and believes she needs to do something about it. Marge reminds Lisa that she has natural collagen. Sure, she might have acne and hate it, but she's young, an ugly duckling who will turn into a beautiful swan. Except for Milhouse, he's an ugly duckling who somehow just keeps getting ugly. On the way home, the argument continues. Lisa believes Marge has betrayed her values. Marge insists it's normal to change your mind when you find yourself in the very situation you once criticized, fillers included. Homer simply exists in the background, there to calm things down and mediate. When he heads to the couch to talk to Snowball and Santa's little helper, he hears Marge scream. She's in Bart's bedroom, which, though it still has his crusty doll, now reflects tastes much closer to anime, like his Titan Academy poster. Marge tells Homer she's found that video of non-romantic human interaction. Homer looks concerned too, but he knows it's part of life. Marge decides to confiscate all of Bart's devices. He's grounded. Bart doesn't argue, he just accepts it, and that's what makes Marge break down in tears. Frightened by the changes in her body, Marge visits her gynecologist to ask for hormone treatment. Instead, the doctor gives her tickets to a musical about perimenopause, one that openly mocks every hormonal symptom imaginable. With no energy left to deal with it, Marge heads home, only to find that Homer has bought a smart refrigerator and arranged for the week's groceries to be delivered. Even better, he's tracked down the strange sneakers Maggie asked for Flanders' wedding. Marge is genuinely touched. For the first time, she doesn't have to think about everyone else. She lets herself relax and thanks Homer for supporting her exactly when she needs it most. Grateful, she kisses him, and that leads to an afternoon of passion that changes something for Marge. She enjoys the moment, but realizes she no longer feels anything down there. That worries Homer. He brings out the heavy artillery, because while he doesn't feel hormonally affected himself, his little buddy does, and it doesn't have the same virility it used to. Dr. Hibbert tells him this is perfectly normal for aging men, and that all he needs is a cocktail of medications to keep getting erections. Marge says it's not necessary, but Homer insists. With his testosterone now running high, his hormones spiral out of control, and he becomes aggressive, picking fights with the whole family, once again leaving Marge frustrated. The morning of Flanders' wedding, everyone is still unraveling. Lisa doesn't feel right in her own skin, first because she's gotten her period, and also because Marge has had fillers, making femininity feel confusing and contradictory. She feels everything and nothing at the same time. Going through her first period, Lisa is overwhelmed with emotions she doesn't yet know how to handle. This makes Marge feel terrible. She should have been there for Lisa in that moment. Meanwhile, Homer asks Bart for the fastest route to the church, but Bart says he has no way of knowing. Marge confiscated all his devices. Homer remembers the fridge is smart and suggests pulling up the map on it, but Bart panics, which immediately raises Marge's suspicions. It turns out Bart has been watching adult content on the refrigerator. Furious, Marge ends up destroying it. When they try to leave, Homer can barely get the key into the car, forcing Bart to drive, and he absolutely should not have.
Oh, I forgot my flower basket!
At the church, everyone's hormones are completely out of control. Homer is still on edge and asks for some female hormones before giving his speech, and suddenly he becomes overwhelmingly emotional.
He's such a good neighbor, Reno. He lets me borrow stuff, and he loves Jesus so much. And despite all that, he's my favorite person in the entire world.
When the reception begins, Bart does his job as cameraman until he spots the bride's sister. He behaves respectfully, something Marge notices from afar. She feels proud, realizing he's not a monster shaped solely by the internet, and that maybe he's still a boy who can be saved.
Chicks are gonna walk all over him.
That's all I want.
Elsewhere, Marge checks on Lisa, who continues criticizing the way Marge's friends look, their injected, stretched faces. Marge regrets having made Lisa believe that femininity is something awful, when it really isn't. You grow into hormones over time, and if you don't want to perform in front of everyone, you shouldn't have to. Just then, the hormones strike again. Homer has run out of ointment. Marge starts sweating once more, and panic sets in. But suddenly, Lisa walks onto the stage. Nervous, she explains that Flanders asked her to sing Perfect by Ed Sheeran, but she won't. Instead, Lisa sings the song that reminds her of her mother, back when they used to sing together in the car.
If you like pina coladas.
And in this way, life seems to go on for everyone. Bart goes on his first date. Lisa sings. Marge and Homer learn to manage their hormones. Maggie talks, and Flanders adds yet another future wife, one who probably won't last. But as always, futuristic episodes aren't canon. They simply exist as standalone specials for each new season.